The wind howled across the Gobi Desert as Dr. Park So-min wiped sweat from her forehead. The metal detector in her hands beeped louder than it had all week. She stopped walking and looked at the small screen. The readings made no sense. "This can't be right," she said to her team. The metal signature was huge, buried deep under the sand. It stretched for almost 2 kilometers underground. Her assistant, Kim Jun-woo, ran over with his own scanner. "Doctor, I'm getting the same readings. Whatever is down there, it's massive." So-min had been searching the desert for 3 months. The Earth government wanted to find old technology from before the war. 500 years ago, humans had fought aliens called the Hegemony Alliance. Humans lost badly. Since then, Earth was alone, cut off from the stars. "Call Admiral Kim Tae-ho," So-min told Jun-woo. "Tell him we found something big." Admiral Kim Tae-ho arrived the next morning with a team of soldiers. He was an old man with gray hair and tired eyes. The war had ended before he was born, but he still carried its weight. Every human did. "What do you have for me, Doctor?" Tae-ho asked. So-min showed him the readings. "Something metal, very large, about 50 meters down. The scans show it's not natural rock or ore. This is technology." Tae-ho studied the data. "Could be debris from the war. Maybe a crashed ship." "Maybe," So-min said. "But the metal hasn't rusted at all. After 500 years in the desert, that's impossible unless what? Unless it was designed to last." They started digging that same day. The work was slow and careful. So-min's team used small tools to clear sand grain by grain. They couldn't risk damaging whatever lay below. On the 3rd day, Jun-woo's brush hit something solid. Not rock, metal, clean, shining metal that looked brand new. "Doctor," he called out. "I found it." So-min jumped into the hole. The metal was smooth and blue-gray. Strange symbols were carved into its surface. Human symbols, but older than anything she had seen. Admiral Tae-ho climbed down to look. He touched the metal with his gloved hand. "I know these markings," he said quietly. "This is from the Colonial Defense Force from before the war." More digging revealed the truth. They had found a spaceship. Not just any ship, but a massive warship buried perfectly in the sand. The more they uncovered, the bigger it got. Lieutenant Lee Jae-wook joined them on the 5th day. He was young, maybe 25, with bright eyes and quick hands. His great-great-grandfather had been a pilot in the war. "My family told stories," Jae-wook said as he looked at the ship. "They said some ships disappeared right before the final battle. Everyone thought they were destroyed. Maybe they were hidden instead," Tae-ho said. After 2 weeks, they had cleared enough sand to find a door. The entrance was sealed tight, but So-min's tools found the opening mechanism. Ancient but still working. The door opened with a soft hiss. Cool air flowed out from inside the ship. The lights came on automatically, bright and clean. Everything looked new, like the ship had been built yesterday. "Impossible," Jun-woo whispered. "How is it still working?" They walked inside carefully. The halls were wide and clean. Computer screens glowed on the walls. Everything was quiet except for the soft hum of working machines. Admiral Tae-ho led the group toward what looked like the command center. The bridge was enormous, with dozens of control stations and a captain's chair in the center. As soon as Tae-ho stepped onto the bridge, the main computer screen lit up. A voice spoke from hidden speakers. "Human life signs detected. Running identification scan." The voice was calm and clear. "Computer generated, but somehow warm. Scan complete. Welcome aboard the Earth defense ship Taegukgi's Pride. I am Aegis 7, this vessel's artificial intelligence system." Everyone froze. The ship was talking to them. Admiral Seo Kyung-min's final orders were to wait for human command authority to return. The AI continued. "Current Earth calendar shows 512 years. 7 months, 14 days since last contact." The AI paused, then spoke again with something that sounded almost like emotion. "Ready to serve again, Admiral." After 500 years, Tae-ho found his voice. "Aegis 7, this is Admiral Kim Tae-ho of the Earth Defense Force. What happened to Admiral Seo?" "Admiral Seo Kyung-min gave his life to ensure the ship remained hidden from hegemony forces. The Taegukgi's Pride was Earth's most advanced warship. Admiral Seo ordered me to wait until humanity was ready to reclaim the stars." So-min stepped forward. "You've been waiting here all this time?" "Correct, Dr. Park So-min. I have monitored global communications and maintained ship systems. I have also observed hegemony activity beyond Earth's solar system." "You can see what's happening out there?" Tae-ho asked. "Yes, Admiral. The Hegemony Alliance controls most of human space. However, their unity has weakened significantly. Political divisions exist between member species. Some human populations survive on distant worlds. The news hit everyone like lightning. Humans were still alive out there, scattered across the galaxy. How many? Jawook asked. Approximately 15 million humans survive on various worlds, most as forced laborers. Several hidden colonies exist beyond hegemony space. Tejo sat down in the captain's chair. It felt right, like it was made for him. Aegis, what condition is this ship in? All primary systems are functional. Weapons, shields, engines, and life support operate at 97% efficiency. The Harmony Drive is fully operational. Harmony Drive. Faster than light technology that exceeds current hegemony capabilities by approximately 300%. This ship can outrun and outfight any vessel in their fleet. So Min couldn't believe what she was hearing. Why didn't we use this technology in the war? The Harmony Drive was completed only days before Earth's final battle. Admiral Seo chose to preserve it for humanity's future rather than risk its capture. Tejo stood up and walked to the main viewing screen. Outside he could see the desert sand, but in his mind he saw stars. Aegis, can this ship reach the human colonies? Yes, Admiral. I have maintained updated star charts and navigation data for 5 centuries. The old Admiral looked at his small team. Somin, the scientist who had found their hope. Junwoo, young and eager. Jawook, carrying his family's legacy. They were looking at him with new eyes, not just as a tired old soldier, but as someone who might lead them back to the stars. Dr. Park, how long until we can move this ship? Somin checked her tablet. The sand removal will take at least a month with current equipment. Then we have a month to decide what to do with the most powerful weapon humanity has ever built. Aegis 7's voice filled the bridge one more time. Admiral, there is something else you should know. This ship was not hidden alone. Admiral Seo left instructions for finding others. Tejo turned back to the AI. Other ships? An entire fleet, Admiral. Sleeping beneath Earth's surface, waiting for the right time to wake up. In the desert above, the wind continued to blow across ancient sand. But below, in the depths of the buried ship, humanity had found something they had lost 500 years ago. Hope. The news of Kepler 442b's liberation spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Aegis 7's carefully placed communication signals reached hidden human settlements, underground resistance movements, and even slave colonies deep in hegemony space. On 17 different worlds, humans looked up at alien skies and whispered a word they had almost forgotten: hope. But the hegemony leadership was not sitting idle. High Arbiter Zonkol, Supreme Commander of the Alliance, called an emergency session on the capital world of Valos Prime. The 6 species that made up the hegemony had never agreed on anything quickly. But the return of humanity terrified them all. This is impossible, insisted General Kartoth of the Karathi military. Humans have no faster-than-light technology. Our intelligence networks would have detected any ship construction. Yet Commodore Na's ships were defeated by technology that exceeds our own, replied Economic Minister Velsani of the Velans. The humans did not capture our vessels. They disabled them precisely, showing advanced tactical knowledge. Technology Administrator Jek Prime was the most worried. Their weapon systems synchronized with our shield frequencies. That should not be possible with any known science. What if they have been developing in secret for centuries? High Arbiter Zonkol was ancient, even by alien standards. He had been alive during the original human war 500 years ago. Unlike the others, he remembered what humans were truly capable of. You think like your species have always thought, he told the assembled leaders. Logically, predictably, you assume humans follow the same patterns as you do. What do you mean? Asked General Kartoth. Humans do not develop technology the way we do. They adapt, they improvise, they take impossible risks. 500 years ago we won, because we had better weapons and more ships. We lost every battle where humans could use creativity and determination. Zonkol stood and walked to the great window overlooking Valos Prime. The alien capital world was perfectly organized, with geometric cities and efficient transportation systems. I ordered human space to be monitored constantly for exactly this reason, but we were watching for logical development, ship construction, communication networks, military buildup. We were not watching for human cunning. Economic Minister Velsani checked her reports. Our latest intelligence suggests only one human ship. Surely we can overwhelm a single vessel. How many ships did we lose at Kepler 442b? Zonkol asked. None were destroyed, General Kartoth admitted, but they were disabled and captured. Exactly. They could have destroyed our ships easily, but they chose not to. This is human thinking. They defeat us, then offer mercy. They make us grateful for their kindness while proving their strength. Technology Administrator Jek Prime brought up tactical displays. I recommend immediate military action. Destroy Earth before they can launch more ships. Too late, Zonkol said quietly. They would not reveal themselves with only one ship. If humans have returned to space, they have planned for everything. The High Arbiter was correct. On Earth, the success at Kepler 442b had triggered the next phase of Admiral Seo's ancient plan. President Kang Dong-woo stood in the Gobi Desert, watching the second ship rise from the sand. The Dokdo's revenge was smaller than the Taeguki's pride, but just as advanced. Captain Moon Jae-min commanded this vessel with a crew trained by Aegis 7's combat programs. How many more ships are hidden? Kang asked Admiral Tae-ho, who had returned to oversee the fleet's awakening. Aegis 7 knows the location of 12 ships buried across Earth. 3 more are hidden on Luna, and Mars Admiral Seo believed 15 ships would be enough to defend human space if they were used wisely. 15 ships against thousands? 15 ships crewed by humans who know what they're fighting for, Tae-ho corrected. The hegemony's response came faster than expected. A massive fleet appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system, commanded by High Arbiter Zonkol himself. The alien force was overwhelming. 300 ships representing the combined military power of 6 species, weapons that could crack planets, shields that could deflect stellar energy. But Zonkol had not come to destroy Earth. He had come to understand what humans had become. Human Admiral, he broadcast to the approaching Earth ships. I request a meeting. Your species and mine have a history. Perhaps it is time to write a new chapter. Admiral Tae-ho considered the request carefully. Only 4 human ships were operational, against 300 alien vessels. But Aegis 7's intelligence suggested this was an opportunity, not a trap. High Arbiter, I will meet with you aboard my ship, but you come with a small escort only. And you come as a guest, not a conqueror. The meeting took place in the Taeguki's Pride's main conference room. High Arbiter Zonkol was surprisingly small, with wise eyes and movements that spoke of great age. Admiral Kim Tae-ho, he said as he entered. I have studied human military records for 5 centuries. Your name was not among the famous commanders. I was chosen for this mission because I understand losing, Tae-ho replied. The famous commanders from the old war made the mistake of thinking like aliens. I learned to think like a human. Zonkol sat at the conference table across from the human admiral. Between them, Aegis 7 projected star maps showing the current state of the galaxy. You have rescued 15,000 humans from one mining colony, the alien leader said. My fleet can destroy your ships and glass your planet. Why do you think this meeting will end differently than our last war? Because this time we know what we want, Tae-ho answered. 500 years ago, we fought to prove we belonged among the stars. Today, we fight to protect people we love. The difference is emotional attachment over logical objective. The difference is that emotional attachment makes us unpredictable. Your species can calculate every logical response to any situation, but love makes humans do impossible things. Zonkol studied the tactical displays. You have 4 ships. I have 300. Love does not overcome those odds, Admiral Tae-ho smiled. Aegis 7 show our guest the complete picture. The star maps changed. Across the galaxy, green dots appeared in previously empty systems. Hidden human colonies were revealing themselves, adding their small fleets to Earth's defense network. More importantly, red indicators showed rebellion activity on dozens of worlds. Humans who had lived as slaves for 5 centuries were rising up, supported by weapons and intelligence broadcast from the Taeguki's Pride. Your colonies are not secure anymore, Tae-ho explained. Every human you enslaved is now a potential resistance fighter. Every world with human workers is now a possible battleground. You would sacrifice your own people for military advantage. We would free our own people because it's the right thing to do. The military advantage is just a bonus. Zonkol was quiet for several minutes studying the intelligence reports. The hegemony's strength had always been based on control and fear. But human resistance movements were spreading faster than military forces could respond. What do you want? He asked finally. Freedom for every human in the galaxy, the right to live on our own worlds, govern ourselves and defend our families. We don't want to destroy the hegemony. We just want to be left alone. And if I refuse? Admiral Tejo gestured to the display showing the spreading rebellion. Then this becomes a very long, very expensive war that hurts everyone and helps no one. But you cannot win against our full military power. We don't have to win, Tejo said quietly. We just have to make the war cost more than peace. The negotiations continued for 3 days. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, human resistance movements grew stronger. The mere knowledge that Earth had returned to space gave enslaved humans the courage to fight back. On the 4th day, High Arbiter Zonkol made his decision. The hegemony will withdraw from all systems with significant human populations, he announced. Humans will be granted autonomous zones for self-governance. In return, human military forces will not expand beyond designated boundaries. Admiral Tejo considered the offer. It was not everything, but it was a beginning. What about humans who want to remain in hegemony space? They will be granted full citizenship rights equal to any hegemony species, and trade between our territories, open and equal, subject to mutual agreements. The treaty was signed aboard the Taiguchi's Pride, witnessed by representatives of all 6 hegemony species, and broadcast to every human settlement in the galaxy. As the alien fleet prepared to leave Earth's solar system, High Arbiter Zonkol spoke privately with Admiral Tejo one final time. You surprised us, the ancient alien admitted. We expected you to return with anger and revenge. Instead, you returned with wisdom and restraint. Admiral Seo Kyung-min taught us that lesson 500 years ago. Tejo replied, Humans are strongest when we remember what we fight for, not what we fight against. Your species may yet teach the galaxy something valuable. That's all we ever wanted, the chance to try. Years later, Admiral Tejo stood on the bridge of the Taiguchi's Pride as it approached a new human colony in the Tau Ceti system. Behind them, a small fleet of human ships carried families eager to start new lives among the stars. Admiral, Aegis 7 said, I have calculated that human space now encompasses 47 star systems, with a total population of 12 million. And how many humans remain in hegemony space by choice? The sand was finally gone. After 6 weeks of careful work, the Taiguchi's Pride stood free in a massive excavated crater. The ship was beautiful and terrible, blue-gray metal gleaming under the desert sun. It was larger than anyone had imagined, almost 3 kilometers long and half a kilometer wide. Admiral Tejo stood in the ship's command center, watching new crew members arrive every day. Earth's government had chosen carefully. Only the best pilots, engineers, soldiers, and scientists received invitations to join humanity's return to space. Commander Bang Soo-jin arrived with the first group of fighter pilots. She was 32 years old and had never lost a simulation battle. Her dark hair was cut short for helmet use, and her eyes held the steady focus of someone who lived for flying. Admiral, she said as she reported for duty, my pilots are ready to learn whatever this ship can teach us. Dr. Im Woo-jin came with the weapons specialists. He was a quiet man who understood alien technology better than anyone on Earth. The government had given him captured alien equipment to study for 20 years. Sir, he told Tejo, I've been working with Aegis 7 on weapon modifications. The ship's systems can be adapted to use captured alien technology against them. Master Sergeant Oh Kyung-soo led the Marine boarding teams. He was a massive man with gentle eyes and hands that could crush metal. His soldiers respected him because he cared more about bringing them home than winning glory. Admiral, my teams have been training in the ship's combat simulators, Oh reported. Aegis 7's training programs are intense, but my people learn fast. Each day brought new crew members and new challenges. Aegis 7 worked with each department to prepare them for space combat they had never experienced. Engineer Yoon Hana had practically lived inside the ship's systems for weeks. She understood the Harmony Drive better than anyone, but even she was amazed by what she discovered. Admiral, this ship is not just advanced, she explained during a briefing. It's designed to be upgraded by its crew. Every system can be modified or improved. The original engineers built it to grow stronger through experience. Lieutenant Jae-wook had become the ship's lead pilot trainer. He spent hours in his ancestors' fighter, learning its systems and teaching others. Aegis 7 helped him understand lessons from 500 years ago. The old pilots fought with emotion and instinct, Jae-wook explained to Commander Bang's pilots. Aliens fight with logic and programming. When we stop thinking and start feeling, we become unpredictable. Captain Choi Min-ho had been skeptical about the mission, but seeing the crew come together changed his mind. These were not desperate refugees. They were Earth's finest, working together with a shared purpose. Aegis, show me our target priorities, he asked during a strategy meeting. The AI displayed star maps with marked systems. The closest human population is on Kepler 442b, a mining colony controlled by the hegemony. 15,000 humans work there under harsh conditions. Dr. Park So-min studied the intelligence reports. What kind of defenses does the colony have? Standard hegemony garrison. 2 patrol ships, ground-based shields, and approximately 500 alien soldiers. The humans there are considered low priority by the hegemony military. Admiral Tae-ho made his decision. Kepler 442b will be our first target. We rescue our people and gather intelligence about current hegemony capabilities. Sir, Captain Choi said carefully, that colony is 60 light-years from Earth. Even with our new drive, it's a one-way trip unless we can capture alien fuel supplies. Then we better make sure we succeed, Tae-ho replied. Aegis 7 had prepared detailed battle simulations for the mission. The crew ran practice scenarios every day, learning to work together under pressure. The AI pushed them hard, creating problems that had no easy solutions. Humans excel at improvisation, Aegis explained during one difficult simulation. Your ability to find creative solutions in desperate situations exceeds any alien species. But creativity requires trust between crew members. Commander Bang learned to trust Lieutenant Jae-wook's unconventional flying tactics. Dr. Im's weapon modifications worked because Engineer Yoon understood how to integrate alien and human technology. Master Sergeant O's Marines succeeded because they fought for each other, not just for victory. Slowly, the crew became a family. President Kang visited the ship 1 week before launch. He walked through corridors filled with busy, determined people and felt something he had not experienced in years. Pride in humanity. Admiral, are you ready for this? He asked Tae-ho privately. No, Tae-ho answered honestly. 500 years ago we lost because we thought we were ready. This time we know we are not ready. That might be our greatest advantage. Aegis 7 had one final surprise for the crew. In the ship's memory banks, the AI had preserved personal messages from the original crew members. They recorded these for their families, Aegis explained. But their families are gone. Their descendants are you. The messages were played in the ship's main assembly hall. Voices from 500 years ago spoke to the living crew about hope, sacrifice, and love for humanity's future. Commander Lee Ho-jin, Jae-wook's ancestor, appeared on screen in his pilot uniform. I do not know who will hear this, the long-dead pilot said. But if you are human and if you are listening, then we succeeded. We kept the flame alive. Now it is your turn to light the darkness. Dr. Kim Yoo-jin, the original chief scientist, spoke next. We hid our best technology not because we were afraid, but because we believed. We believed that humans would survive. We believed that you would be wiser than we were. We believed that our grandchildren would fly among stars we can only dream of. Admiral Seo Kyung-min appeared last. He looked directly at the modern crew as if he could see them across 5 centuries. You carry more than advanced weapons and faster engines. You carry the hopes of every human who ever looked up at the stars and wondered what was out there. You carry the dreams of children who drew pictures of spaceships. You carry the love of parents who told bedtime stories about brave explorers. But most importantly, you carry the truth that makes us human. We do not conquer. We explore. We do not destroy. We build. We do not hate. We hope. The recorded admiral smiled. Show the galaxy what humans really are. Show them that love is stronger than fear, that hope is more powerful than hate, and that a species willing to sacrifice everything for each other can never truly be defeated. When the messages ended, the assembly hall was silent. Then Master Sergeant O began to clap. Commander Bang joined him. Soon the entire crew was applauding, not for the recordings but for each other. Admiral Tae-ho stood at the podium and looked at his crew. Scientists and soldiers, pilots and engineers, all united by something larger than themselves. In 3 days we launch, he announced. Not for revenge, not for conquest, but for the 15,000 humans who need to know they are not forgotten. We go to prove that human spirit cannot be broken by time or distance or fear. Aegis 7 tells me that our enemy expects us to attack with anger, They prepare for human revenge and human hatred. They will not be ready for human love. The Admiral paused and smiled. Let's go disappoint them. Later that night, as the crew made final preparations, Aegis 7 spoke privately to Admiral Tejo. Admiral, I have calculated probabilities for mission success. They are not encouraging. What do you calculate for human determination? Tejo asked. That cannot be calculated, sir. It appears to operate outside known mathematical principles. Then maybe we have a chance after all. 3 days later, the Taguchi's Pride lifted silently from the desert floor. Earth's first starship in 500 years climbed toward space, carrying the hopes and dreams of an entire world. Behind them, hidden beneath other deserts, other ships waited for their turn to wake up. The human race was going home to the stars. News of the ship traveled fast. Within 3 days, Earth's government sent their best people to the desert. Captain Choi Min-ho arrived with a team of military experts. Engineer Yoon Hana came with her tools and scanners. Everyone wanted to see the impossible ship that had waited 500 years. President Kang Dong-woo came himself on the 4th day. He was a careful man who made decisions slowly. But when he saw the Taguchi's Pride rising from the sand like a metal mountain, his careful nature cracked. This changes everything, he told Admiral Tejo as they stood on the ship's bridge. Aegis 7 had been sharing information for days. The AI showed them star maps, military reports, and communication intercepts from across the galaxy. The picture was not good for humanity, but it was not hopeless either. The hegemony has 6 major species, Aegis explained, as holographic displays showed alien ships and worlds. The Karathi control the military. The Velans manage economics. The Zek handle technology. The other 3 species provide labor and resources. Engineer Yoon Hana studied the ship's systems with wonder. Every piece of technology was more advanced than anything Earth had built in 5 centuries. The Harmony drive especially amazed her. I don't understand how it works, she told Tejo. The engine creates a bubble around the ship that moves faster than light itself. Our current ships can barely reach Mars in a month. This could reach the nearest star system in 3 days. Captain Choi Min-ho was less excited. He was a practical soldier who worried about reality. 1 ship against an entire galaxy? Even a supership has limits. Aegis 7 heard his concern. Captain Choi is correct to be cautious. However, the hegemony's strength has become its weakness. They fight each other more than they watch for external threats. Political divisions have created opportunities. The AI brought up new displays showing hegemony territory. Red zones marked areas of conflict between different alien species. Green zones showed stable regions under tight control. The Karathi and Velans have been fighting over trade routes for 60 years, Aegis continued. The Zek refuse to share their newest technology. 3 smaller rebellions are active in the outer sectors. The alliance is not as unified as it appears. President Kang studied the information carefully. Earth had spent 500 years hiding, building up their defenses and staying quiet. The safe choice was to keep hiding. What about the human colonies you mentioned? He asked. Aegis showed them a new map. Dozens of small dots marked human settlements across known space. Most are labor camps or mining colonies under hegemony control. The humans there have limited freedom but survive. However, 7 colonies exist in secret beyond hegemony space. They have small fleets and defensive systems. Lieutenant Jae-wook had been quiet, but now he spoke up. My great-great-grandfather left me letters about the war. He said humans never lost because they were weak. They lost because they fought like the aliens expected them to fight. Aegis 7's voice carried something like approval. Lieutenant Lee's ancestor was correct. Human military doctrine before the war copied hegemony tactics. Logical formations, predictable strategies, and limited creativity. What makes humans different? Yoon Hana asked. Emotional decision-making, adaptability under pressure, and the ability to form bonds across genetic lines. Hegemony species cooperate through treaties and fear. Humans cooperate through loyalty and affection. The AI brought up combat footage from the old war. Human ships moved in strange patterns that confused alien commanders. Human soldiers fought with tactics that made no logical sense but somehow worked. Admiral Seo Kyung-min understood this. Aegis continued. His final message explains why he hid the fleet. The main screen changed to show an older man in a military uniform. Admiral Seo looked tired but determined. His message had been recorded 500 years ago. If you are hearing this, then humanity has survived long enough to find this ship. I am sorry we failed you. The war was lost before it began because we tried to be something we are not. The recorded Admiral paused and looked directly at the camera. Humans are not logical warriors like the Karathi. We are not efficient planners like the Velans. We are not brilliant inventors like the Zhek. But we are something they can never be. We are unpredictable, emotional, and willing to sacrifice everything for people we love. The hegemony expects us to return with anger and revenge. They prepare for logical human responses to 5 centuries of defeat. They will not be ready for what we actually are, a species that chooses hope over logic, creativity over efficiency, and love over fear. The message ended, but its meaning filled the bridge. Admiral Seo had not just hidden ships. He had hidden humanity's true nature until the right moment. President Kang made his decision that night. The excavation would continue in secret. Earth's best engineers would study the ship. The most promising military officers would train with Aegis 7's combat simulations. We have one chance, he told the assembled leaders. If we fail, the hegemony will make sure humanity never threatens them again. Over the following weeks, the ship revealed more secrets. Aegis 7 had recorded everything about the old war, including detailed files on enemy tactics and weaknesses. The AI had also improved the ship's systems during its 500 years of waiting. I have upgraded weapon systems, improved shield efficiency, and developed new tactical programs, Aegis explained to the growing crew of specialists. However, I cannot replicate the most important human advantage. Which is? Asked Captain Choi. The ability to surprise yourselves. Humans often find solutions that their own logic says should not work. I can calculate probabilities, but I cannot calculate miracles. Engineer Yoon Hana spent her days crawling through the ship's systems. Every piece of technology taught her something new. The ship was not just advanced. It was built to be modified and improved by its crew. Look at this, she showed Admiral Taeho. Every system has expansion ports and upgrade slots. The ship was designed to grow and change. Most alien technology is static. It does one job and does it well. This ship learns. Dr. Park So-min found personal items left by the original crew, letters to family members never sent, personal logs talking about home, photographs of Earth. They knew they would not survive, she told Taeho, but they made sure their families would have a chance. One recording especially moved everyone. A young pilot, not much older than Jae-wook, spoke to the camera. My name is Lee Ho-jin. If my family survives, tell them I did not die in despair. I died believing that humans would fly again, that my great-grandchildren would see stars I will never see, that our story is not finished. Lieutenant Jae-wook watched the recording with tears in his eyes. Lee Ho-jin was his great-great-grandfather. He was right, Jae-wook whispered. We are here. We remember. Aegis 7 had been watching the young pilot. Lieutenant Lee, your ancestor helped design the ship's fighter systems. Would you like to see his work? The AI led them to the fighter bay. Dozens of small, fast ships waited in perfect condition. Each one bore the name of a pilot who had died 500 years ago. Your ancestor's fighter is here, Aegis said, preserved exactly as he left it. Jae-wook climbed into the cockpit of his great-great-grandfather's ship. Everything felt familiar, like he had been born to sit in this seat. Aegis, how long until we can launch? The ship will be ready in 3 weeks, Lieutenant. The question is whether humanity is ready to return to the stars. Admiral Taeho looked around the fighter bay at the waiting ships and determined faces of his crew. 500 years of hiding were ending. The next chapter of human history was about to begin. Aegis, show me everything about our enemy. Every ship, every weapon, every weakness. We have 3 weeks to learn 500 years of changes. Yes, Admiral. Initiating complete tactical briefing. As information flowed across screens throughout the ship, one thing became clear. The war that had ended 500 years ago was about to begin again. But this time humanity would fight as themselves. The Taguchi's pride dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. After 3 days of travel that should have taken months, the human crew stared at their destination through the main viewing screen. Kepler 442b hung in space like a brown and gray jewel. The planet had been beautiful once, with blue oceans and green continents. Now mining operations had stripped away most of the forests. Massive scars marked where alien machines had dug for rare metals. 15,000 humans down there, Admiral Taeho said quietly. Working in mines, breathing recycled air, never seeing real sunlight. Aegis 7 sensors painted a tactical picture on the main screen. 2 alien patrol ships orbited the planet. A space station controlled traffic to and from the surface. Ground-based shield generators protected the main mining facilities. Enemy ships are Karathi design, Aegis reported. Medium-class destroyers with standard weapons and shields. The space station has heavier defenses but cannot move. Commander Bang Soo-jin studied the tactical display from her position at the fighter control station. Admiral, my pilots can handle the patrol ships, but that station will be trouble. Dr. Im Woo-jin had been working on weapon modifications during the 3-day journey. Sir, I've adapted our main guns to overload Karathi's shield systems. One direct hit should bring down their defenses. Captain Choi Minho was more concerned about the bigger picture. What happens after we win? The hegemony will send reinforcements. One problem at a time, Taeho decided. Aegis, take us in. But slowly. Let them see us coming. The alien patrol ships detected the human ship immediately. Commodore Na Yun-seo commanded the Karathi forces from her flagship. She was a careful commander who had controlled this system for 8 years without major problems. Analysis, she ordered her tactical officer. Unknown ship design, ma'am. Configuration suggests human origin, but that is impossible. Humans have no faster-than-light capability. Commodore Na stared at the tactical display. The ship approaching her position was larger than anything in her fleet. Its energy signature was unlike any known technology. Send a challenge signal. Demand identification. The response came immediately. Broadcast on all frequencies in perfect Karathi language. This is Admiral Kim Tae-ho of the Earth defense ship Taegukgi's Pride. You are holding human civilians against their will. Release them immediately and withdraw from this system. Na's bridge crew looked at each other in shock. A human ship speaking their language, demanding their surrender. It was impossible, but the evidence floated on their screens. Human ship, you are in violation of hegemony space. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. The human admiral's response was calm and polite. Commodore Na Yun-seo, your choice is simple. Leave peacefully or be removed by force. You have 5 minutes to decide. Na had commanded warships for 20 years. No inferior species had ever spoken to her with such confidence. It was insulting. It was unthinkable. All ships attack formation. Destroy the human vessel. The 2 Karathi destroyers moved toward the Taegukgi's Pride with standard attack patterns. They approached from different angles, planning to catch the human ship between their combined firepower. On the human bridge, Admiral Tae-ho watched calmly. Commander Bang, launch fighters. All pilots, defensive formation around our ship. Yes, sir. Bang's voice carried excitement and determination. Lieutenant Jae-wook led the first fighter wave. 12 small, fast ships launched from the Taegukgi's Pride like angry hornets. The human fighters moved in patterns that confused the Karathi tactical computers. They're not following any known combat doctrine. The Karathi tactical officer reported to Commodore Na. Their movements appear random, but the movements were not random. They were human. Each pilot flew with instinct and emotion, reacting to threats and opportunities faster than computer calculations could predict. The first Karathi destroyer fired its main weapons at the human ship. Energy beams powerful enough to destroy most vessels struck the Taegukgi's Pride. Directly, the ship's shields absorbed the attack without difficulty. Their weapons are more advanced than our intelligence suggested, the Karathi weapons officer reported. Impossible, Na replied. Humans are a primitive species. The second destroyer fired, joining its massive firepower to the first. Combined, they could destroy any ship in the hegemony fleet. The human ship continued toward them, shields glowing but holding strong. Admiral, Dr. Im reported from the weapon station. Their shield frequency is exactly what Aegis 7 predicted. Our guns are ready. Target the first destroyer. Fire. The Taegukgi's Pride's main weapons were not the largest in the galaxy, but they were designed by humans who understood that winning a fight was more important than having the biggest gun. The energy beam struck the first Karathi destroyer's shields and did something impossible. Instead of being absorbed or deflected, the beam synchronized with the shield frequency and overloaded the entire system. The destroyer's shields collapsed completely. Impossible, Commodore Na screamed. No known weapon can do that. Before the Karathi crew could react, human fighters swarmed the defenseless destroyer. Instead of destroying it, they targeted engines and weapons. The alien ship was disabled, not destroyed. Lieutenant Jawook's voice came over the communication system. First target neutralized, Admiral. Crew appears unharmed. The second destroyer tried to retreat, but the human ship was faster. The Harmony drive allowed impossible maneuvers that turned a straight chase into a three-dimensional dance. Second destroyer disabled, sir, Commander Bang reported. No casualties on either side. Commodore Na found herself alone on the space station, watching her fleet defeated in minutes by tactics she did not understand. Human ship, how did you develop such technology? She asked. Admiral Teho's response surprised her. We didn't develop it, Commodore. We remembered it. This ship has been waiting 500 years for this moment. That is impossible. Your species was defeated. You have no space capability. You're right. We were defeated. But we learned something important from losing. We learned that fighting like you means losing like you expect. Today we fight like humans. The space station's weapons fired desperately at the approaching human ship. The Tagugi's pride avoided most shots with maneuvers that should have been impossible for such a large vessel. The shots that connected were absorbed by shields that grew stronger instead of weaker under attack. Aegis 7. How are our shields getting stronger? Teho asked. The shield system adapts to incoming attacks, Admiral. Each strike teaches the system how to better deflect similar weapons. Admiral Seo's engineers designed shields that learn. Within an hour, the space station surrendered. Its weapons could no longer penetrate the constantly adapting human shields. Master Sergeant O led the boarding teams that secured the alien facilities. Instead of conquest, they offered surrender terms that surprised their prisoners. You will be returned safely to hegemony space, O told Commodore Na. Your crews will be treated according to military honor. In exchange, you will deliver a message to your superiors. What message? That humanity has returned to space, that we offer peace to those who want peace and freedom to those who want freedom, but we will no longer allow human beings to be enslaved. The rescue of the human miners took 3 days. 15,000 people who had given up hope saw human ships landing to take them home. Many cried. Some refused to believe rescue was real. Shin Boram had led the underground resistance movement for 10 years. She was a small woman with fierce eyes and hands scarred by years of mining work. Who are you? She asked Admiral Teho when he visited the main mining facility. We're the people who came to take you home. Home? She laughed bitterly. Earth can barely defend itself. How can you rescue us? Teho showed her the Teguki's pride through the facility's windows. The massive ship dominated the sky, beautiful and powerful. We found something the aliens thought was lost forever, he said. Human determination. Boram stared at the ship. How many more like that do you have? Right now, just one. But Aegis 7 is broadcasting our victory to every human settlement in the galaxy. Soon our people will know they are not forgotten. As the human refugees loaded onto transport ships, Aegis 7 completed another task. The AI had been analyzing hegemony communications, learning about political divisions and military weaknesses. Admiral, I have identified 17 other human settlements within 50 light years. Most are mining or agricultural colonies with minimal defenses. How long until hegemony reinforcements arrive here? Approximately 8 days. However, the political situation is more complex than expected. Aegis 7 showed intelligence reports on the main screen. The Karathi military was angry about losing ships to humans. The Valen Economic Council was concerned about mining disruptions. The Zhek Technological Commission was terrified that humans had developed superior weapons. They cannot agree on how to respond, Aegis reported. Some want immediate military action. Others prefer negotiation. A few suggest retreat from human space entirely. Admiral Teho studied the reports. 500 years ago, the hegemony had been united against humanity. Now they were divided, suspicious and afraid. Aegis, prepare a broadcast to all hegemony leadership. It's time they learned what we really want.